Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit. Our producer, Shannon Morse Snubs, is here. She is the host also of, producer of Know How, but host of Coding 101. That's going great. Loving it.
Thank you.
Teaching everybody how to code.
One of the top ones on iTunes.
Are you absorbing?
I am. I love learning about code. It's so interesting.
It's a great habit.
Yeah, it is.
Or hobby, I should say. Habit for some, hobby for others. You are also the reader reviewer.
I am.
I don't know why.
I'm kind of a bookworm. I don't know. It started with Goosebumps when I was a kid, and ever since then.
You like to read?
I do.
Good.
I read every night.
So, you know, the Amazon Kindle really dominates this marketplace.
It does.
We've looked at others from, you know, Barnes & Noble to Nook and so forth. This is the Kobo.
Yes.
This is kind of like, I always kind of am rooting for them. They're the little guy out in the corner there. The Kobo Reader.
Yes, this is the Kobo Aura, which is it's basically the predecessor to their Kobo Glow, which I reviewed last year. The Glow's main thing was that it could brighten up. It had this front light on it, and it was very nice to use.
So it's not like the Amazon Paperwhite where it's from the back. It's coming from the front. No, it's coming from the front.
Yeah, that's a completely different thing for them.
Huh.
If I turn it on, and we can use the overhead shot.
It's pretty legible without it. But it gets really bright and nice.
So one thing I really like about this is they have an actual physical light button instead of having to go through the menu and click it. So say it's dark out. I mean, this is totally obvious. You just click the button instead of having to deal with going through the menu. So if I click that, you can see it brighten up. And this is only about halfway brightness. And it gets about that bright. Yeah, so it's nice and bright. It's very clear. This one is a step down from their Aura HD, which we have also reviewed. This one only has a 212 ppi display, which matches the Paperwhite, so that's a very compatible device. You can do most of your reading on it just fine, but you can definitely see difference between this one and the Aura HD.
That's even higher resolution?
Yeah, that one's a 265 ppi display, I believe. Yeah. So it's definitely HD. On this one, you can see a little bit of pixels.
Is it a little jaggy?
A little bit.
Yeah. You know what I like though? This is so nice and light.
I know, it is.
You wouldn't have a lot of fatigue reading this.
It's nice, yeah.
And of course I can make the fonts bigger and all that, right?
Yep. Yeah, you can do everything that you could do on their past products on the Kobo line. They still have all the books available. It's wirelessly downloadable, so you can access their entire library, and they have over 4 million books in there, all of the top sellers. Their library is growing too. I noticed a whole bunch of newer ones, as well as some that I couldn't find on here, like some comics and whatnot. So they're definitely growing their library, and that's a definite plus for them as well, because I know a lot of people are saying no, don't want to get a Kobo because Amazon has more than them, which they do.
They do.
Yeah.
So did you, as you browse the library, see gaps and things that you wanted but you couldn't get?
Not necessarily now as much as I used to.
Right.
Now I'm noticing a lot more than I used to. So it's definite plus. One thing to mention though on this one, it is $149, which is $30 more than the Paperwhite with the ads on it. I have a Paperwhite at home, and I noticed that the size is a little bit different, but the screen is the same. So this one is 6 inches. So it's a really nice screen size, and
it looks
very
great,
lightweight.
I have to say,
yeah, you can stick it in your purse and go, and the flipping of the pages is just fine. It's very quick, and it's a little bit of a response problem. I know sometimes I have to press it twice for it to turn, but otherwise works pretty well, and it lasts for about 2 months.
Can I get books on there through SD card, through USB and wireless, or just USB?
There's a micro SD card slot right here.
Oh, that's nice.
So you can fit up to, I think they said 3,000 or 30,000 books.
A lot of books.
Yeah, I'll have to check
more than you ever need
to make sure. Okay. Yeah, so you can fit as many books as you could absolutely read, and then it charges from micro SD.
It doesn't have the Amazon wireless capability though, does it? You have to connect to a USB to a computer.
You do have to connect to USB, but you can access wireless on here.
Oh, it does have wireless?
Yeah, it has Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi,
right
okay, great.
Yeah.
So not 3G, but Wi-Fi.
Yes, exactly.
Great.
No
and do you need to run a special program on your computer to do that?
They do have an application for computers, but you don't. You can just download books straight from here if you want to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it has its own store on the thing.
Their own store and everything. So my pros and cons on this one, since it is $150, keep that in mind. The pros, it's compact, it's very easy to grip. The back is more of a rubberized texture instead of that quilted background that they used to have. The physical light button is awesome. On the con side, the price being $30 more than the Paperwhite is definite negative, and the 212 ppi display is noticeable from their HD version, which costs $169.
Right.
So it's a little bit more expensive for the HD version.
So did you play with the HD? Did you just try reading a little bit with that?
Yeah, I played with the HD last year, and I thought the reading, you could definitely see a difference with the pixel density on that one, but to be honest, whenever you're reading every night, it doesn't really bother you over time. So I would give this one a try.
Okay.
Mostly because of the price.
Do you use an e-reader instead of books?
I do. Yeah. I use a Paperwhite.
And you use the Kindle? Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
I do. And I love it.
And every night you read with the Kindle?
Every single night, yeah. And one of my favorite things about it is that backlighting on it, because it's so nice. I can fall asleep right next to my spouse, and he never wakes up because I can just lower the brightness on it.
You know, that is
it's
actually
great.
a nice feature.
Yeah,
yeah.
I love it.
You can't necessarily do that with a transmissive screen like the
That's true.
like the iPad.
So the second one I have for you, this one is called the Kobo Arc 10 HD. They have a 10 and a 7-inch version. This one's the 10-inch.
So this is their, like, the Fire.
Yeah.
This is their color tablet
Yes,
style.
exactly. So this is the main page right here. You'll notice automatically it does run Android 4.2, but it's totally skinned. And it's skinned because they're focusing on books. So the first thing you get to is the bookstore. So this is their own Kindle store. This is the books that I have on
Kobo
my own.
store.
Yeah, Kobo store, excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are all the Kobo books that I have downloaded, so I can click into like an audio book if I wanted to and turn up the sound on here.
Now these are not Audible audio books. This is their own Kobo
Audio
stuff.
on.
Do they
So I don't know if you can hear that, but
pictures, clay.
isn't that cute?
Good for the kids, though.
Audiobooks.
That's great.
Good for kids, yes, exactly. So I'll click out of there, and I can show you what a book looks like on here. Let's go home. I'll click on that one.
This looks more like Android than the Amazon Kindle Fire.
Very much so, yeah. It's a lot more Android. You can access the entire Google Play store on here.
You can?
Yes, you can.
Ah, so it's AOSP, okay.
Yeah, which is great.
Okay, that's good, yeah.
Nice screen on this one. I really like the screen. It's a 2516 by 1600 resolution screen, which is comparative to the HDX 8.9. So about the same as that. And even though this one is 10 inches, not 8.9,
looks good.
You really don't see the pixels. It looks very, very nice and clear and crisp. Really easy to read books on here. I like the fact that you can access the Google Play Store on here as well.
Yeah, because now we're thinking this is an Android tablet as much as a reading device.
Exactly, but they're definitely focusing on reading. They have these different things right here, which are your collections.
Your bookshelf.
So I have my bookshelf, want to read magazines, Kobo collections, getting started to get you started with the Kobo. So it's really nice. I like how they displayed it. I did have a problem with the actual size of the device though. Even though it's 10 inches, it weighs 22 ounces. It's really heavy compared to other ones on the market right now. Yeah. Like the Samsung Galaxy Tab 3. That one's like 13 ounces.
It's almost a pound and a half.
Yeah, it's very heavy, you can tell.
Yeah.
So that would get bothersome to me over time if I'm reading for hours every night. You know, I wouldn't want to hold this in my hands for hours and hours. But the screen is nice, the speakers are pretty clear, you know, they get kind of muddy if you turn them up too loud. They're on the back right here. There's 2 speakers on both sides. There is no micro SD card slot either, but there is a front-facing camera so you can make Skype calls. And it's pretty average. It's 1.3 megapixels and 720p for any kind of video.
And it's 16 gigs?
Yes, it is. Okay. It's 16 gigs.
For $400.
Yes, $400. So yeah, it's $399.99. So my pros and cons on this one are the really beautiful screen. I very much like that. And you do get lots of internal storage, mainly for books. If you put too many applications on here, obviously you're going to run out pretty quick. The cons, no micro SD card slot, which I would have loved, and the price. It is pretty pricey at $400. That's expensive. So same with this one. I would give it a try. It's a good tablet, but they're pricey.
It's challenging too because you're in a very competitive marketplace. I mean, that's priced almost to the iPad price, and it's more expensive than a Nexus. And so you've got this very competitive marketplace. You don't really stand out. You don't have as many books as Amazon. This is a very tough market for Kobo.
It is.
I'm rooting for him because they're the little guy.
Me too. But I always root for the little guy.
Yeah, I have a hard time recommending this for people when there are big products from Amazon and Apple, among others, and Google too, that compete directly.
But I still like checking them out.
Shannon Morse.